Welcome back to RelaxRV. Welcome back to RelaxRV. Hi, my name is Paul. I'm doing a podcast on stress while RVing. And I know none of you have ever experienced anything stressful while RVing. Well, perhaps a little bit. Now, stress means different things to different people, and what stresses one person out may just make another person laugh. And for that, I'm jealous. So let's talk about stress and RVing. Welcome back, everybody. Paul Sebastian, stress management consultant, RVer, retired nurse. This is season 2, episode 75. 75 episodes. Unbelievable. I wasn't sure if this podcast was going to last this long. And it looks like it will. So this is being recorded on April 18th, 2022. Right now we're down in Virginia. So, before we left for this trip, I dewinterized and I noticed that the water pressure in the bathroom sink was low. So I opened up the cabinets underneath the sink and I could see a small leak. So I shut off the water pump, disconnected everything. Couldn't locate the source of the leak, put everything back together, and I figured it had to be an obstruction somewhere, right? Low water pressure. So I remembered that last fall we had low water pressure in the whole rig, and I took out the screen filter on the water pump. And it was a mess. So cleaned that all out and disinfected it. And that was last fall. So apparently something got trapped in the screen in the bathroom faucet. So I took the screen off, the aerator, and full pressure, no problems. Ran over to Home Depot. Picked up a replacement aerator for like $5. Threw it on, checked all the connections underneath the sink, and it was fine. So I think what happened was, because of the obstruction at the aerator, was forcing a lot of back pressure in the water line. So it just forced out of one of the connections. Maybe it was a little loose. I don't really know. But full pressure now and no leaks. Yay! So, the next day, we finally got on the road for our Kentucky 2022 trip. Our first stop was in Lititz, Pennsylvania, a 3-hour drive from home. Now remember, our limit for our travel days are 4 hours, and so this was a 3-hour drive. 3-hour drives on the map turn into close to 4 hours in reality. Yesterday I broke that rule for the first time in probably about 3 years, and I broke it on purpose for a reason, and I'll get to that later. Alright, so we stayed 2 nights at a Boondockers Welcome location in Lititz. At each of our stays, we try to stay at least 2 nights. This way we have a full day to either relax, do laundry, go sightseeing. When I first started RVing 4 years ago, we were doing a lot of one-night stays and driving 3 to 4 hours a day, sometimes 5 hours a day. and it just tired me out. I was exhausted after a month or so. So now we try to stay 2 nights minimum. The one thing that gets in our way of that is Harvest Host. So we are members. We stay at golf courses and wineries and breweries and museums. There's a discount on my website, relaxrv.org. Go to the discounts page, and you'll see discounts to Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome. So Harvest Host typically has a limit of 1 night. So if we do that, we try to plan 2 short drives, an hour, hour and a half to the winery, and then an hour and a half the next day out of the winery. So anyway, we pulled into our Boondocker Welcome location. We plugged into their 50 amp electric. Set up our grill, and then we headed over to Intercourse, Pennsylvania, to do some shopping. We've never been in this area before, so we do like Amish communities. We like going to Amish stores, especially the food grocery stores. The quality of the food is phenomenal. The prices are unbelievable. So we did some shopping over in Intercourse. We found it to be more of a tourist destination than traditional Amish communities. We headed back to the rig, and I cooked some shrimp skewers on the grill, which were delicious. The next day we went over to Lancaster for a very little bit. It was way too touristy for us. We're not into touring an Amish house, and it's funny, we like going to Amish grocery stores, but we don't like those all-you-can-eat buffets that you see advertised with the Amish. We find the food to be a little bland. So if you like bland food, definitely do it up. For the price, they're a great deal. Just not for our taste. So we went from Lancaster over to Turkey Hill, the ice cream place. Have a Turkey Hill experience. And again, it was not our cup of tea. However, if you're a young family with little kids, it looked like it would be a lot of fun for you guys. For us in our late 50s, early 60s, So from there we drove over so at the Turkey Hill experience, it wasn't cheap. I think it was like $15 a person to get in. And for that, they give you a free sample of ice cream. And I guess you could get back online and get numerous free samples. My daughter and her boyfriend went over there, I think 2 years ago and a year and a half ago. And they said they filled up on ice cream. You can also design your own ice cream flavor, which they did. We got a free sample and we left. So we drove over to the Utz potato chip factory. Utz is UTZ. We took their free tour, which was self-guided, and basically all it is an elevated hallway overlooking the factory. And it was okay. You got to see potatoes going into a machine and coming out peeled, and then going into a machine and coming out sliced, and then going into a machine and coming out as chips, and then going into a machine and coming out in bags. So they gave us a free bag of chips. and we hit their outlet store, which was up the block. It was about a mile away. So we went there, and we picked up a few bags of chips and pretzels. Then back to the rig again for dinner. That night was tilapia and asparagus on the grill. And again, delicious. So this is our first experience using the heat strip that I installed on the roof air conditioner last fall, or this past winter. I'll tell you what an investment. I think the whole thing, we had to upgrade the thermostat. If you listen to previous episodes, you heard about that install. It was pretty straightforward. So I thought I just bought the heat strip and that would be it. But no, we had to buy a new controller for inside the air conditioner unit. So the controller was about $100. The heat strip was about $150, I think, off the top of my head. And then come to find out we needed a new thermostat. So the thermostat you can set on either electric heat for the heat strip or gas for the furnace. So all said and done, $300, maybe $350. I'll tell you what, though, definitely worth it. It draws 15 amps. So when we're parked at Boondockers Welcome, like now, we have 50 amps, so not an issue. But at the end of this episode, the place where I'm recording down in Virginia, we only have 15 amps. And in our younger days, 4 years ago, we would have attempted to run our heat strip. Now, the hosts have the electric exposed, the outlet, so we can get at it, but the circuit breaker is locked away, and it's not convenient for them to come and reset a circuit breaker that we inadvertently blow. So, while using or hooked up to 15 amp, we use our furnace, which draws like 7 amps. But I'll tell you what, it was 50 degrees at night. The RV was kept at 70 degrees. We turned it down at night. It's like 67. It gives us. We used to use 2 space heaters in the RV, and we could run one on high and one on low and keep it under 30 amps. But we had a lot of cold pockets. So the bathroom would be cold, or the backside of the bedroom would be cold. This throws the heat out through the ceiling vents where the air conditioning would flow through. We have a ducted air conditioner system. So the heat comes out of all those ducts, so the heat goes everywhere in the rig. It's beautiful. Love it. Great investment. So let me catch up to my notes here because I'm not reading it verbatim. So the next day we left Lititz. We drove south to Winchester, Virginia. So New York, Pennsylvania, now into Virginia. But on the way, we saw a Lindt chocolate factory outlet. Right on Route 81 South in Pennsylvania. Right just north of the border. So we hopped off the highway. Took us 3 minutes to get to it. We picked up some delicious chocolates there. And we left there. We planned on hitting a dump. We can go 6 nights without dumping. We needed to stop for gas. So we pulled into I think it was a Love's, and